I know for me, and for probably a lot of people, moving is the worst. I hate packing. Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Mariah and this is Woolen Words. Today we are doing something a little bit differently because we are going to be moving soon. We have been in this apartment for over a year now, which is crazy, but we are going to find a new place to live, and so I am going to begin the packing process, and I thought I would take you guys along with me packing all of my yarn and craft day stuff. Now, we won't actually be completely out of here for another little while, but I am a big believer in not procrastinating packing because it is always way more than you think. It always takes way longer than you think it will. And I just want to get a jump start so that when we do move, it's not going to be we have to spend 2 full days packing and scrambling to get it all done. If you saw my last organizing video, you know that I like to have a little checklist or goals, things that I want to accomplish with whatever I am doing. It helps me stay organized and not forget things. But today is just the same. I have a list of 5 things that I want to do in order to start packing up all of my crafting stuff. So the first one, number 1, is to look at my schedule and see how many weeks am I probably going to need stuff to do or projects to work on, and I want to see what I want to accomplish in those weeks, and that is going to tell me what I'm going to pack for now and what I'm going to keep for now. So I went through all of my projects and stuff and found that I have about 3 or 4 projects that I for sure want to work on for the next about 6 weeks or so during this moving process. So for those 3 or 4 projects, I think it ended up being 4 officially, but I wanted to make sure that I had all of my yarn, all of my tools, a project bag to keep it in just to stay organized. So I wanted to go through and see what I needed for each of those projects and kind of separate them out while I was sorting all of my stuff. Now, you will see in this video that I have way more than just yarn, crochet, knitting. I also have a lot of sewing material, like yardage of material. I have embroidery hoops. I have all kinds of stuff that honestly haven't touched in a long time because we haven't had a space for my sewing machine here. But I do have lots of plans in the far distant future when I have room for a sewing machine to do all kinds of projects. So for now I'm keeping this stuff, but I'm going to pack it because I definitely will not use it in the next 6 weeks. Number 2, I definitely included in number 1, but again, it's sorting through what I'm keeping for now and what I will be packing so that I can not look at it, it won't be taking up space, and we'll already have it done. I think this step is always a little bit tough because I think as crafters, we tend to over-project what we're going to accomplish or what we want to work on in a certain period of time. I know I am definitely guilty of being like, oh, well, I'll just pack extra in case I do more, and then it never ends up getting done and it's just a waste of space, and that's okay. But I was trying to be really tough with myself and see, okay, this is what I for sure am going to work on in the next few weeks. This stuff I might not get to, so for now, I'm going to pack it. If I absolutely have to dig it out later and unpack it so that I have something to work on, I can, but I'm going to pack it for now because I probably will not get to it. If you keep up with my podcast, you probably will guess or kind of know which projects I am keeping to work on for now. I also have some video ideas that I need to get done in the time that we're packing, so I have a few tools and things that I normally would have packed, but I'm keeping them just for the sake of making those videos. So of course, I have my sweater, my sleeve that I'm working on for the hummingbird sweater. I have some crochet socks that I'm working on that I just started. I have my fern top that I still need to finish, but it is like 99% of the way done. And then I have my poncho that I've been working on for I guess a couple months now. So those are the 4 projects that I am keeping and going to be working on for the about 6 weeks that we have until we move. So number 3, I wanted to sort through all of the bags that I have for project bags and pick 3 or 4 to fit the projects that I'm going to keep for now, so that I have them nice and organized and separated, and then the rest can hold the stuff that I'm packing. For me, that just keeps everything organized and separated, and they're quicker to just grab on the go, and plus it's prettier than just having everything in like a plastic bag or something. So I picked out some of my project bags that would fit the projects that I'm working on. I kept one of my bigger project bags just for the sake of kind of tossing in all of the extra stuff that I might need for the projects that I have. So I tossed my fern top in there because it is almost done. I have like one more thing to do. So that is in there. I tossed in some extra yarn that I might need for like the sweater or the poncho, but I didn't want to keep it in the project bag. I just kept it a little separate because I don't know if I will for sure need it or not. So number 4, I wanted to prep all of my projects like I was talking about so that I had what I needed, but then I could pack all of the rest, including my crochet hooks, my knitting needles, anything that I wasn't going to need for these projects. I can pack and get it out so that I only have what I will be using or what I will need for these projects. Now, this also included winding some yarn that was just out of control from the fern top that I was crocheting, and also from a hummingbird sweater that I'm working on. Some of the yarn just gets a little twisted. It doesn't really tangle, thankfully. I'm pretty good about keeping it organized, but this fern top, I ended up cutting out some colors from the yarn because I wanted specific colors, and I didn't want to end on a color I didn't like. So I joined the yarn in different spots, cutting out some of the colors, and that made an entire mess, and I just kind of threw it away and left it until I had to deal with it. But I figured since I was packing it, I don't want to pack just a huge knotted mess of yarn. So I went through the trouble of slowly hand winding it into a ball so that I could have it nice and neat in my project bag. The reason I didn't use my yarn winder for this was because I knew it was going to be a pain to wind, and it was just going to get tangled all over the place. So I just decided to hand wind it, and it took a long time and was kind of a mess, but I got it done and it worked out beautifully. So now I feel much calmer about the yarn that I have. Now, number 5 is to pack. I decided to pack this stuff in bins, and I got these bins from my parents. They recently moved a few months ago, so they kept all of their big plastic bins that they emptied out as they were unpacking, and so we have lots of them, and they're still unpacking a few things, so I'm sure we'll get even more. But I decided to take a couple of these. I thought I was going to get away with one, but then I quickly realized that that was not realistic and I definitely needed 2. So I grabbed these 2 bins and I kind of separated them into crochet, yarn, knitting pile, and then also a bin for sewing and embroidery and extra things like that. And that seemed to work pretty well. I think that was a pretty even divide between my stuff. The tricky thing was packing my yarn winder because it is near and dear to my heart. I want to take good care of it. I don't want it to break. Thankfully it does come apart if I need to, but I found a way to lay it very carefully on top of all my yarn and put some yarn on top of it so that hopefully it will be cushioned, and I will definitely mark it so that we know to be extra careful with that one. We don't just chuck it everywhere we take it. Now, little caveat here, you might notice that something huge is missing from these bins. My yarn stash. I thought originally that these bins would hold my bins, my under the bed bins for my yarn, so I would just toss them in there. Turns out they don't quite fit, but that's okay. They're in bins, they're stored. I can just stack my under the bed bins that hold my yarn and just pack those in the car wherever we're going. So I'm not too worried about having it in a separate bin. I thought if it's not going to fit very well, it's just kind of a waste of a bin that we can pack stuff in. So I still have them under my bed. I know for now that I'm not going to start any projects. My yarn stash is off limits for now until we move, because I don't want to have any more free roaming projects that I have to carry around and not pack or wait till the last minute to pack. I thought it would be nice to include a little poem that kind of pertains to the topic of this video. I have not been very good about including poetry or quotes in my videos or even talking about the books I've been reading, but I am determined to be better about that because this is Wool and Words. Plus, I love poetry to death. It is my favorite art form and something that I've really connected with over the last year and a half. Actually, this apartment is where I started really seriously writing poetry and really diving into that as a hobby and a passion and something that I absolutely love. And if I get to share that passion with a few people, that would be amazing. But I found this poem is by Emily Dickinson, and I thought it was really sweet and kind of touched on how it feels to leave a place. And I think it also can apply to a lot of different things, but for the sake of this video, I thought it was a really nice, succinct poem about moving. Sweet hours have perished here. This is a mighty room. Within its precincts, hopes have played. Now shadows in the tomb. By Emily Dickinson. Again, I thought it was a sweet little poem about how it feels to move. It can be stressful and you can feel impatient and anxious and excited and also a little bit sad about leaving behind the memories or the place where you've spent the last year and a half of your life. It can be a lot, and it's okay to feel those things. It is all part of life. If you're not feeling things, then you're not really living, I think. Anyway, I'm getting really philosophical. So I kind of wanted to talk about the process of moving because I know for me, and for probably a lot of people, moving is the worst. I hate packing. I hate unpacking. I cannot wait to not move again for a while, and hopefully it will work out where we don't have to move again for a while. This was our first and only apartment since we've been in Texas, and we absolutely love it here. We've made great friends, we have great family, my parents are now here, but the process of moving is always so difficult. It can be stressful and emotional, and I just want to encourage you, if you're in the same place or if you hate packing as much as I do, you know, you're not alone. I'm here with you. It's the worst, but we'll get through it. We are very fortunate to be able to move to different places, and I'm definitely not discounting that. We are very blessed and very fortunate to be able to experience all of these things, and I'm excited for what comes next, but the process of packing is just, which is why I try to stay on top of it and get it done ahead of when it needs to be done, so that we're not scrambling at the last second trying to pack everything the day that we're trying to move, because I've also been there. I also want to slip in here and say thank you so much for over 200 subscribers. Are you joking me? I had no idea that it was going to really take off in the last week. I have gone from under 200 to over 200, like 220 when I'm filming this. So it's insane. Thank you so much for subscribing. I really appreciate it. Thank you for liking and commenting. I love getting to hear your input, your feedback, your advice. All of these ideas are so wonderful. It's so fun to communicate back and forth, and I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. It really means so much to me that you are interested in what I am making and what is going on in my life. So again, thank you. I really appreciate you, all of you, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!